with Don and Tara, this is really going to be a valuable LinkedIn Live for you. Hopefully, you're taking some notes. We've got chat open. Feel free. It's always better when more people join in. And if nothing else, just share who you are, where you're from, and we'll be happy to recognize you. Today's topic, which is really, I would say, more top of mind now than any other time during the year, is 2023. I know there's a lot of people kind of wrapping it up, or in a lot of cases wrapped up for 2022. And everybody's starting to figure, what are we going to do next year? So me and Tara decided we'll kind of share the highlights of 2022 and some strategy and planning tips for 2023. And with that, let me introduce Tara. This is always a brighter Friday when Tara's on the show. So Tara, share a little bit about yourself and, thoughts going forward.
Absolutely. And, it's the time, a lot of people are settling down, right? A lot of people are getting comfortable. We're getting cozy. The weather's a little colder out there. We tend to slow down this time of year. But it's a good time of year to reflect.
Mm-hmm.
So reflecting back, what happened, what didn't go well, what went well, and really kind of map it out and dissect it. So I take every December and get super reflective and almost dissect it, right? Because oftentimes we get trapped in these patterns and we don't even realize they're patterns. And you look at a failure and what patterns led up to that, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
helps you prevent a lot of failure, right? So it's about breaking habits, it's about being reflective. And then you go into that next year with that fresh perspective, with that mindset of, I'm not going to continue those patterns anymore. And I'm going to break through and have incredible success because you've identified, you've dissected, you really took the anatomy of that year and then applied it to that next year and that goal set that you have. And then it just helps you achieve so much more. But 2023, I'm just going to put it out there right now, Don. It's going to be the best year, I think, for a lot of people's lives. I'm ready. I'm ready for 2023 to be the absolute most successful year of my life, and I know it's going to be for you too as well. But I'm excited, Don. How about you? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm thrilled. I can't, I kind of have to pinch myself sometimes just to realize what a great opportunity I'm involved in. And it's just waiting for me to get better to take full advantage of it. And what I'm doing, and when you do a lot, and I've been posting every day this year and pretty much LinkedIn Live for the last 7 months every day, is go back to January of 2022 and see what your posts looked like.
Yes.
Right? See what,
Yes.
it's like a movie, like the old movies where you put a bunch of pictures together and you move them, and all of a sudden it becomes like uh, real or moving pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just like watching a child grow. If you haven't seen a nephew or grandson in a year, you say, wow, you grew so much. But if you're living with somebody, you don't see every inch going on. And the same thing with LinkedIn is you have to really look at where you've come from. And that can give you some reason to celebrate where you are in the process. Because the beauty of LinkedIn is once you figure out what works, it will continue to work for you and continue to work for people you're working for and with. So that's the promise, reflect, see where you are, see what you've done. Another cool takeaway is find somebody you really admire and follow on LinkedIn and see how they've grown. See their post, because the nice thing about LinkedIn, you can go back forever on someone's content, see every post, see everybody who's working with people. And, I believe going into 2023, your best approach after self-reflection would be copying the greatest people on LinkedIn, not word for word, but see what they do, see who they do it with, and figure out how you can be part of that type of movement. So what's your biggest win this year, Tara?
It's been a great year. This is my first year diving into entrepreneurship full time. So I will say that. I don't have any entrepreneurs in my family. I am the first one, really. So for me, it has been learning through failure and failing big. And you know what? That's okay. But I've learned all of these lessons. And my honest biggest win this year has been my mindset growth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I came to the realization that if I didn't have the mindset, nothing else would work. Even if I realized success at some point, it wouldn't be the full capacity of what I was really capable of, or I might lose it. So for me, understanding the mindset and not always having the support, not always, feeling like you're on a ship of one, right? You're the only person on that boat in the middle of a sea. That's how entrepreneurship feels a lot of times. But when you develop a mindset of growth, you don't look at failure the same. So my biggest win for this year has really been my mindset and the way I look at failure. So I used to be so afraid of failure. I think most people are. It terrifies people. Oh, what if I fail? Especially on LinkedIn, and you're failing in public a lot of the times, right? You're building in public, you're failing in public. But this year I reframed failure in my mind, and now I look at failure as it wasn't enough of what I could do. So I failed because I wasn't shooting high enough, I wasn't aiming high enough, or I failed because if I would have pursued that, I would have been entangled with something lesser that didn't serve me. Once I reframed that failure in my mind, I realized there's no such thing as failure. And that became the engine that helped keep me through and keep me going. A lot of those entrepreneurship days where you
Mm-hmm.
just feel like giving up, crying in a corner, right? So reframing failure, I will say that has been my biggest win, because I think when you can do that, the sky's kind of the limit, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a very professional, mature approach to it. And my career has always been entrepreneurial. And
Yep.
in my family, no one ever had a job. So what you learn growing up is feast and famine,
Yep.
right? You have these huge opportunities where you can do really well. And then it's like anything, whether it's acting, getting a part, not getting a part. And on LinkedIn, I find failure can be viewed as feedback,
Yes.
right? And learning. So, what did I learn from this? Because that's the currency you want to build on until you can start learning enough to start earning enough.
Yeah.
And what happens is in the beginning, you have to do so much for so little. But if you're good at it, later on, you do so little for so much. And that's where you get the payback. Where if you're just transactional and working by the hour or by the job, there's nothing in the future. And what you are building is 100% of you in a company that you own, control, manage, can do business around the world. Uh, and the sky's the limit, like you say, but you got to be your best friend during your worst times.
Yeah.
They say it's not how many times you fall down, it's how fast you get up, you
Yeah.
know? And that's the thing is once it's done, get on with the next one. It's like whenever you've been in class when you're a kid and you had 100 questions and there were multiple choice and teacher said you got 3 minutes and you got 50 questions to go, you start moving through them just because it is. And I think the other thing about setting goals and having accountability is it puts it on your shoulders. And I think in most plans, and I think exactly to what you said, people don't shoot big enough. And when you shoot big enough, it stretches you to get there, right? If you're going to have the same goal you had this year, what did this year do for you for next year?
That's right.
So, the game is between you and yourself. And sometimes there's too much you for yourself. So that's why it makes sense to get someone to be with,
Yeah, that's
right?
right.
Who can share and put context to say, because it's easier when you say, well, they're having the same issues I'm having. So it's not failure, it's moving through the process. So going into 2023, what areas, I know LinkedIn Live is something we did pretty successfully. Are you going to be focusing on most?
Gosh, yeah, this year, I'm focused on obviously LinkedIn. It's always going to be a focus for me in my business. I believe in this platform. This is where my people are. This is culture. This is something I want to build in. So I'm going to continue to focus a lot of efforts on LinkedIn, but grow as much as possible. So, the sky is the limit. I just signed up for TikTok last week. We'll see.
Hmm.
I'm not I'm not convinced quite yet. But I like to experiment and I like to try new things, because honestly, if you stay in that comfort zone, you're never going to grow, right? So no matter how much you're growing in one place, it's always good to try something new as well, and see where that takes you, because opportunities are really endless for the person that is taking enough action. So I'm going to write down my goals today, and I believe in writing them down, pen to paper. And I have a notepad on my desk, Don, that I look at every single day. I take kind of random scratch notes, but I also have notes about goals and core values and things that are really important to me that I need to live by. That simple act of writing it down really helps reinforce it. And I know we talked about that as well before the show, but it does. It's so key, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. And, when you really look at it, the way to hedge your bets and improve your odds of winning in 2023 is to collaborate with individuals that you're banking on them finding something cool and interesting and sharing with you,
Yeah.
right? So if Tara or I, and that's what we're doing on the show, we're giving you the best of where we are today in our minds, where we're looking forward to 2023 to encourage you to follow us and also to build with us.
Yeah.
And if Tara figures it out, or Jenny Maxwell, or I can go on and on and on, this year I've really aligned myself with some real champions out there who are on a fast track, and I'm running with them, right? And part of that is sharing knowledge and strategies, because there's 10 lifetimes of opportunity out there on LinkedIn. And I know, because of my experience, I mean, I was really one of the first players on Amazon, on eBay, on Walmart, and LinkedIn is just ready to take off because they need to continue to compete with other platforms. And like you were saying, you're looking at TikTok, I'm looking at YouTube Shorts.
Yep.
YouTube Shorts created $100 million just for YouTube short creators.
Yeah.
And I know LinkedIn is going to have to start subsidizing creators to keep them publishing and to keep them building. So if you can learn now and get ready, I remember the guy who founded Google said he was so happy it took like 6 months a year for people to even know they existed, because they made so many mistakes in the beginning that nobody had to see. So I
That's
look
a
at
good
this.
thing.
That's so true. And here's what I think one should be a measure going into 2023. How much do you believe in yourself and this opportunity? And if your belief is solid, nothing is going to get in your way. Nothing is going to turn you off. If anything, it'll just make you more aggressive, hopefully, to say, hey, let's put another hour in. Let's get another Audible. I'm constantly using every day to learn from anywhere I can, and making little gains. I mean, I changed my profile background yesterday. I changed my profile picture yesterday. You know, there's so many things you got to keep tidying up while you're adding to it,
Yeah. It's
right?
a living document. It's living. I think so many people have it as a static page and they never touch it, but it's a website, guys. Like I preach that all the time. It's a landing page. It's Google, Yahoo, and Bing searchable. You want to make sure you tidy up your profile and make it snazzy. And once every couple of months, make some adjustments as needed. That's a good point. Very
Yeah,
good
I
tip.
typically change my profile about every day. And it could be I'm an old time retailer. So in the day, you just would walk the store, right?
Yeah.
Straighten out displays, make sure the price tags were on right, change displays. And I think that also shows, I mean, in the old days, department stores used to have people employed just to continue to style their windows. So, there'd be the August window for fashion or furniture. And what you'd learn is if no one kept up with their windows, you stop keeping up with them, right? If you got a website now a LinkedIn uh, profile that says coming in September 2022, you know that they're not keeping up with it and, they're not working it. And every little thing means a little bit more when you're projecting against 800 million people. Right? That little thing that says, well, why did they throw that in? Or why didn't they change their word? And, it's almost like a living document. As
Yeah.
your thinking changes, your view of yourself changes. And when you're looking at planning, there's a tendency to want to be more, do more. And in a lot of cases, people would be better off niching a little bit tighter, focusing just on that point and working it, because another audible I've been listening to said that to be really powerful on LinkedIn, all your content shouldn't circulate around more than 3 pillars. So you find 3 areas you're passionate about, like I could say LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn Strategy, LinkedIn Coaching, and everything should either be in one of those buckets. And too many people are like, they're talking about this today and tagging tomorrow and doing all this stuff. And they're not really grabbing a population who wants to focus on that. And that would make it tighter membership. And what you want to do is build your core. Like this program, I've got 10, 12 people that pretty much are here every day. And that's how you build something. You build one brick on top of another, one person with another, and you do more to tighten it up more often.
Yeah. I like that.
So yeah, compression goes a long way, aggregation, and I will tell everybody out there, you will be so much more ahead if you get hold of Tara or myself and just get help.
Yeah.
Enough help that you can say, okay, I can take it from here, because the goal I have is to graduate people from me, not to keep people with me.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what makes it all worthwhile. So Tara, going into 2023, I really am impressed with your ambitious, positive goal. And you never know when you dream big how far you'll get, but you'll get further than if you dream small and stop at wherever that goal was. And I found one thing about planning, it's got to be a living document too, whereas you see new opportunities, you see changes that you need to make. That's the key to having a plan, is you can measure against it to say, am I achieving what I'm supposed to be achieving? And if not, where am I falling short? So you catch yourself far earlier and you're more proud of yourself, because then when you get disappointed, at least you knew what you were getting into and how you were doing. So
Absolutely.
looks like, and you created a new program that you just introduced, if you want to share that with everybody.
Yeah. So speaking of 2023 goals, just created an online program that teaches people how to develop a personal brand, and it's specifically geared around LinkedIn. So, how to grow LinkedIn, reach connections, how to build a community, proper communication, do's and don'ts, and then what it means to develop a personal brand that works for you, not against you. And I'm ready. I'm about to give away a lot of copies for people, but this is, we're very similar minded, Don. I don't want people to work with me forever either. I want to be able to set someone up for success and have them be so confident that they can then go and finish, right? They can continue. And that's the goal. So getting people, as many as possible, set up for success. I'm just like you. I don't think there's a lack or a scarcity of success. I don't think that there is a limit. I don't believe that success is for some people and not others. There's no scarcity mindset here. So we both believe that and prescribe to that philosophy. And because of that, we're very generous. We want to help as many people as possible. And we see a real need for it, especially on LinkedIn. There's a lot of people that are just so close to success. I talked to a couple people yesterday that said, I think this could be the one thing I'm missing. And I looked and it is. And these are people that are very successful secularly, right? That so they have education, some of them are PhDs, authors, whatever, but they're just not at that level of success that they want. And that makes me again believe that success looks different for everyone, right? So it starts by defining what your goals of success are, not someone else's, right? What are your specific goals for success? And write them down. Write them down. Write them down in a piece of paper and put it on your desk and think about it. What does success mean to you? What does it look like for you? And then you can start to formulate goals around that too, So even if you don't know your goals yet, do you know what success looks like to you? Okay, now reverse engineer that and then come up with the specific goals. But I was in a meeting yesterday, Don, with a mindset coach, and I wrote down some really interesting notes, and it was about 2023 goals. So it's kind of, and we didn't convene on this beforehand. So I love how, again,
Mhm.
we think alike. But one of the questions is, what do you want to experience in 2023? Right. So again, maybe like a goal could be hard to define sometimes, but what do you want to experience? What patterns are you looking to break
Mhm.
in 2023? How do you want to grow? How do you want to give back? Because remember, it's not just about us, right? As individuals, it's about that. You can't have that scarcity mindset, or else you're not going to grow. You have to have that abundance mindset. So, how are you going to give back to your community? What impact do you want to make? And the last thing is, what are you attached to the right things? So again, what does success look like to you? Reverse engineer it. That's how you get to your goals. And then it's about that chipping away at those blocks every single day to just get you that action, those action steps that you need to get you to those goals. And that's, I feel like, how it starts. But you have to get some real clarity on what success looks like for you as an individual, I think. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's so true. And I think the value I see in graduates who have had a successful experience is there a great opportunity for testimonials, referrals, third party validation. You want them to go out and say, I work with Tara for a few months and I really shored up my strategy and learned a lot. And now I'm on my way. LinkedIn is an activity game. And anytime you're not building and going forward, you're usually moving backwards. It's like going up a down escalator.
Yeah.
So if you can tie on to somebody when you're feeling some pain, when you're getting a little disillusioned, because to be honest with oneself, who in your family and friends knows enough about LinkedIn to help you?
Yeah.
So even if you wanted to go to a family member and say they couldn't. And the
Mhm.
good thing about me and Tara is we have no skin in your game. So we could be as honest and
Yep.
as forthright in sharing. And sometimes until you get a second opinion, do you get comfortable? How many times do you buy clothes? And until someone makes that first comment or two, does it give you context? And I guarantee you, if three people looked at you differently and didn't seem to find your pick, acceptable, pretty soon you're starting to think less of it. And by the same token, if someone can say, hey, there's a nugget here you're not seeing, or you made an investment here that's going to take longer to pay off. So do you want to keep making these long-term investments, or you want to make some short-term wins? So how much patience do you have? And that's where a plan comes in, is like, hey, is this possible in 90 days? If you don't put it in, they say fail to plan to fail. We were just talking about people who have a written plan have a 500% or 5 times rate of success versus not having it. And all it takes, like Tara says, putting pen to paper. You've done it before. It's a little scary because you have to look at what you write,
Yeah.
and that's kind of a test of maybe conscience to say, is this real? Or are you just saying this? Or on the other side is, can't you, are you slacking here? Can't you pick up the pace a little? And I think when you really get down to it, there's a saying, if your why's big enough, you'll figure out the how to. So you should have a goal. Take a picture of a house you'd like to live in, or a vacation you'd like to take, or an education for a family member. And look at that and say, that's why I've got to do this. In the old days when conquerors would go to new lands, they would burn all their boats. And they would tell the army it's either win or there's no way back.
Yeah.
Right? And once you close the door on backing up, you don't have to ask yourself that question anymore. But you also have to know, hey, enough's enough for one day. I'm just beating myself up now. Why not do something fun? Because the beauty of being your own boss is you call your own shots. And there's people who used to work for people, and that's why I never liked to, that needed to do something but would feel guilty if they did, even though it would be the best for everybody involved. Right? Or the people hanging out work at 6:30 because they don't want to be the first to leave, even though everybody's done about an hour ago. But, and when I see that, I look at how much everyday waste was it, how much people diminished themselves every day and lost a piece of themselves because of accommodating or fitting in. Where here it's like, hey, you can get up at 5 a.m. and work till 5 a.m. again, and no one will stop you. One thing LinkedIn doesn't do, tell you how much you can't do. Right? If you want to do 20 posts a day, if you want to reach out to whoever, and I feel responsible to myself that if I need to get something done, it doesn't take me long to catch myself. What am I watching this for? Or what am I wasting time? I should be back at work. And I believe if you can't work harder for yourself than a stranger who doesn't care as much about you and your family, then you should be working for the stranger.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something you have to figure, whether it's LinkedIn or not, whether it's me and Tara or not, it's your future. And it's not just you, it's everybody around you.
Yeah.
And to be honest, everybody around you is not focused on how much you make, but really who you become, how happy you are, because they get happier knowing you're happy. And when you're happy, you're in a better position to make other people happy. So once you see how the string extends and how it ripples, then it becomes not about you anymore. right? When I had a business and I had an overhead that was in the millions a year, I had to make so much every month to pay bills. There was never a question of getting it done, because the alternative was there's so many people involved in so many ways that even if I didn't feel like doing it, I still had to do it for everybody else.
Yeah.
Right. And it's so, when you hear these stories of mothers picking up cars to save their kids, and it's like, how did this lady that weighed 120 pounds pick up this Volkswagen? And it just shows you when you have to do something, you find it somewhere. So I think that could figure into your planning. If nothing, it should inspire you to see more of the dimensions that people are involved in. What's your thoughts, Tara?
I love it. Burn the boat. I love that, don't get comfortable, right? So go into something believing that you can do it, and don't settle for things that don't suit you, right? Don't settle for things that don't serve you. And again, going back to that definition of success, what does it look like to you? So, if somebody would have asked me that so simple question just a few years ago, I could have joined my entrepreneurship journey much sooner, because something I value is freedom, right? So, why was I stuck in this little box in a career when something I value is freedom? And then the whole time I'm feeling, unfulfilled and all of these things. So, honestly, to the viewers that are watching this, you've got to get out of your comfort zone. You have to try something new. But you have to market yourselves, guys, because again, if you don't do it, nobody's going to know you exist. And there's a lot of really talented people out there that are so close to success, but it's either limiting beliefs or negative self talk or some kind of doubt or no clearly defined goals and objectives that lead to all of these paths when it should be a much clear path, right? So get super clear, get super granular on what you want. Write it down and it starts to become real. Because when you put pen to paper, it's an actual thing, it's tangible. You can fold it up, you can put it in your pocket, you can take it with you in your car. Look at it as many times a day as you can so that it memorizes, right? So that you memorize it. And then it starts to become a daily thing. And then all of a sudden, you're starting to reach these goals because they're at top of mind awareness with you. And it's so easy to forget our goals, to get off track. That's why 90% of diets fail. That's why so many people join a gym in January and you don't see them again till the following January. People get excited and they don't write things down. So they don't mean as much to people. But when you write them down, it becomes that guiding light that helps you because it motivates you. And motivation is not something that you wake up out of bed and all day long you plug in a battery and you're motivated all day. You have to stay motivated by writing things down. And that's what keeps you motivated because it keeps it in the forefront of your vision. If you don't have that, it's not going to be possible to really achieve. So get really granular of what you want, what success looks like to you. Start writing down those goals because that's really important. But get out of your comfort zone and definitely, start getting more exposure for yourself on LinkedIn. I think that 2023 is going to be a breakout year for a lot of people. But we can only do that when we, write those goals down and then again start getting out of our comfort zone, doing things that are a little scary, and then all of a sudden you're a different person. You're a successful person. You're, finally living up to those goals that you set out to. So that's what it's all about. Honestly, if somebody would have told me that a couple of years ago, I would be a completely different person right now. But it's okay. It's part of the journey, right? But the point of it is, I don't want my clients to go through that same arduous journey of yours.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give them those answers extremely quickly and guide them very much quickly because I want to see people succeed rapidly. So learn from our mistakes. We've made them, but it's made us who we are, right? We use those mistakes so that our clients don't have to make the same ones.
Well, that's so profound and valuable. And what I like to add is that when you write it down, sometimes you look at it and you surprise yourself
Yeah.
because you gathered all these individual, independent thoughts and ideas and you put them together in a way and you say, wow, you get excited and you forget it's you who's the one who has this opportunity. And the other thing is, it's not where you start, it's where you end up.
Yeah.
Right? So wherever you are with whatever you have, whoever you are, that's where you start going to work. The other thing I would add to planning, and more importantly into application, is sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Unless you're exactly or close to where you want to be, do you have that ability to slow down, take it as it comes? And if you do, that's fine. Like Tara says, whatever your goal is right for you. If your goal is just to have conversations, learn, exchange ideas, you should have a plan for that too. But your objective won't be measured in money. It might be measured in connections or views or
Hmm.
partnerships or whatever. So yes, have a sense of urgency. No one promises anybody tomorrow, and every day is a blessing in my opinion. So why not take full advantage of it? And, be all you can be. Look at your life. Look at what you've invested. Look at the people who've invested in you, right? Where do you want to take that investment? Where would everybody be today if they could be here seeing who you became and what you're doing? And, just like if you were in a baseball league or something, and when you got your whole family in the stands, it makes such a big difference,
Yeah.
right? And when you can help yourself, you can better help others also. So get to the other side and start helping other people get there. And together, you never know how big you can grow, because the better you make people around you, the more opportunity they have to make you better for being with them. So it's kind of there's a saying, givers get, and the more you give, you'll get back. Now, it may not be on your timeline, it may not be on equal measure, but the main thing is you're getting the process moving. You get in the car and drive now. And direction, they say a rocket is 97% off course. And it's only because of the gyroscope that keeps getting them back in line. And everybody can look at themselves as a rocket ship. And who do you have who can say, hey, you're getting too close to the edge here? Or, hey, what happened? And when you have to explain to someone who cares about you, who is looking for your better interest, that's where trust comes in. And and trust is really the foundation of communication, right? If you can't trust who you're talking to, there's no sense talking, because you don't know intent. But if you know that, then it's to a certain point, not only how much can you give, how much can you open up and allow in, and how honest can you be in a respectful way to save somebody from something that you see happening that they don't. So it's the things you don't do that are just as beneficial sometimes as what you do, because now you've got time, effort, and thought to reinvest in it. And everybody wants to see someone who doesn't give up. There's something to a player who just won't quit. No matter what happens, they keep showing up, they keep coming back, and they gain this respect and eventually confidence, and they win the day. I've seen so many smart people, so many rich people, so many strong people who didn't have it all together and flamed out
Yeah.
or never got off the ground. So give yourself credit if you're watching. Give yourself credit if you're continuously learning. You know, they say don't ever be the smartest person in the room you're in, you know, and get around people who make you feel better, make you think better, and make you want to be better for being around them. And that's what LinkedIn is all about: people connecting, people working together, people winning together. And most people aren't even in the working, let alone the winning. But next year, everybody starts fresh January 1, right? You can't, whatever was is done. Now it's whatever will be. And you're the master of your destiny. And, you know, it'd be lovely a year from now to come back on a show like this and say, hey, I listened to your show, and that would be gratifying. And it got me in gear. And boy, because of that boom, boom, bang, I'm where I never thought I'd be. And I can tell you there's thousands of those. I never thought it was possible that I could find myself where I am. And I know there's a lot of people on the other side who could say that too. But, you know, that shows that anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Right? There's greatness in everyone out there. It's just getting hold of it and working it and nurturing it, you know, and making yourself your best project. So I think we covered a lot of bases. I know we can go forever. So any final words for everybody out there, Tara?
Good luck. I think like I already said, you already have everything inside you right now that can take you to your goals. But it starts by writing it down. Because I believe within all of us is that seed of success just dying to sprout. But it starts by writing them down, getting really clear. And then if you can't reach someone yourself, it doesn't mean you failed. It just doesn't mean that you connected with somebody, that you utilized somebody, that you leveraged someone else, that you networked. Don't be afraid to collaborate. Don't be afraid to lean on someone else. So you can fail if you try to put it all on your shoulders and do it all at one time. It's really easy way to set yourself up for failure. So lean on somebody else for help, you know? And there's plenty of people out there that want others to succeed. We're not the only two. So leverage, lean, and ask for help, but get really clear on those goals. And I know everyone can do it. So good luck, everyone.
Well, if Tara says it, it's got to be true. I'll just share that Sujin was here. Thank you very much. And, you know, final words from me is just enjoy the holidays, make them safe, get yourself in shape for the starting line, January 1, and know that there's January 2, right? So you can restart, you can gain some energy, you know, be good to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really important. Take care of yourself. And now, you know, me and Tara. So you've got two people who are visible, are accessible, and look at our content if you just want to see the value we bring, and reach out to us if we can be of service in some way. So with that said, thank you everybody for attending today. If you feel like sharing, that would be great. And look forward to me and Tara coming back at you next week. So thank you, everybody.